Hey, good morning. Hope everyone's having a good Monday morning. Well, all are one. World Assemblies of God and Global Concert and Prayer. That's what we're going to look at today because there's a lot to understand. And I just want to be very clear and I want to give grace because as many of us have gone into the world and lived a life with the world at some point, there were many others that studied the Word and stayed on the narrow path, and they became pastors and leaders in the churches. And I just want to make that clear that we are not fighting against flesh, that this is a spiritual battle. So whenever I bring up people, we need to pray for them and pray that we all repent and understand that there's a lot of deception going on right now in this world. So, as I've said that, I want to first start off by saying that Mike Winger went over the entire investigation of Ravi Zachariah. You ought to look at it to understand if you still have your doubts about what happened. Very interesting, and he went into depth. It is over an hour long, but well worth listening to if you still are not sure. And this is the reason why we do what we do, because we have our doubts and we have to keep each other on check, right? We need to keep and hold each other accountable. So when I see this in Facebook, this is where it all began. I do know the pastor on the right fairly well, and I know he is a man of God. They're both pastors in the church. I just don't know the other one as well. But I just want to say that this is not against him and not against them. This is just to understand more of what is going on and why I think that they need to hear and understand. Because when I see these kind of pictures like this, I understand that they have been deceived and they don't even realize it. And my heart breaks, and I just want to get them to realize exactly what is going on and why they cannot trust the men that are above them telling them the direction they need to be going. But research everything for yourself. As I tell everybody always, don't even trust me, because we cannot be one with the world or else the Father is not with us. Okay, so let's first look at their logo. Looks quite similar, doesn't it? My opinion is yes. But this is only the tip of the iceberg. So let's just keep going. There's a lot to look at. So TELUS is joint with all these organizations here in Finland. I'm only going to look at them briefly because there's so much that I need to show you. So Avain Media means key media, okay? So those are the things I see when I saw that name. Showing up the peace sign, sure, it means peace, but it's many other things too, and we understand that. Then I noticed the tell us, how the T is within the circle. I thought of the two-ball triple tau, or the two-ball cane is where I first started thinking of it, but it's called the triple tau. But anyway, FIDA is a second-hand shop. You know, why they said treasures of everyday life, well, this is not our world. But I'm not going to go into detail, like I said, but they are clearly joint with the THL. They're following all their guidelines. They've clearly said that in all their sites. I'm not going to go into that either, but I'm going to give you a link where you can see that the Nordic Pentecostal leaders have issued a joint statement calling for a healthy attitude towards what's going on. And the Pentecostal leaders also say that they will be taking this thing when it's their turn. Now, I agree with Dr. Lorraine. Pastors are paid to follow orders. All churches have been infiltrated by the 33rd degree Masons. Absolutely. And I want to make it clear, no, I don't trust anyone fully. Absolutely not. And I do have my concerns that why she would be on Yana Ben-Noon's show, because I understand who they are on Israel News Live and my view on them. But again, it's not about these two right here, but I just wanted to make that clear from my other video. So for all the pastors that still are wondering, you really need to see this video from Leland Jones. They're trying to take away your God gene. I'm only going to show a very short clip.
Next we hear from Dean Hammer, who's the author of The God Gene and the VMAT2 and its relationship to brain activity and spirituality.
So if indeed spirituality is the series of chemical reactions in the brain, and if it can be enhanced by certain types of drug, then naturally it follows that it could be inhibited as well, because for every activator there must be an inhibitor. And so I could easily imagine that under the right circumstances, the right stimuli or the right drugs or the right inhibitors might have some effect on a person's spirituality. At least in the short run. Whether or not that would have a long-term effect or people would undergo homeostasis and alter is an open question. We really don't know the answer to that.
Are made for one simple purpose, and they are to burrow into the bloodstream, gain entrance to the brain and other areas of the body in order to attach themselves to that tissue and lay in wait for classified military frequency signal, at which time they manipulate the brain and other areas of the body to send signals to those other areas of the body to affect what is called a cytokine storm. It's a sort of immune system feedback loop that is like your immune system on steroids. They cause the body's immune system to turn against itself and mimic virulent flu-like symptoms that develop into upper respiratory infection, fluid in the lungs, pneumonia, and eventually death.
But most on this channel are very aware of what is going on, so I don't need to say anything more about that. If you have not heard that, I'll add the link. You really need to listen to that. It's a good refreshing, even if you know all the facts. So anyway, back to how I even came up on this. So these two pastors are a part of the Solemn Church. It is a 501c3 church. Yes, it is. Don't even get me started on their attire for this little newscast that they had for this conference coming up. We won't get into that, but they have a conference coming up with the Tell Us conference. But so who are they associated with? It's the National Assemblies of God Fellowship. And in there, they talk about who their affiliates are. And I really don't like seeing the term fraternal organizations, because it really gets me wondering. Because fraternities means Freemasons, in my opinion, but anyway, we won't go there. So, World Assemblies of God Fellowship. He is the Europe's executive international representative for the Pentecostal churches of Finland. So you have to understand why I am so deeply concerned. Okay? So the chairman of the Pentecostal churches in Finland. Now, they have 240 churches, 400 pastors. Okay? So the person whose leadership it is under is Esko Matikainen. I'm not going to show you all these faces and names because for some of you this doesn't mean anything. But just wait. It's coming. What's going to pertain to you. So this is not only about the Finnish churches. Just wait. So they are all linked through the NAE, the SEA. You can look at my other video on that. Pentecostal World Fellowship, Global Evangelist Alliance. Does that ring a bell? Yeah. And their alliance with the GEA. So let's go over a few just quickly. National Council of Churches. So what do you see here? Interfaith Relations and Churches. Okay, that's the NCC. Okay, keep that in mind. And their Pillars of Peace for the 21st Century, a policy statement on the United Nations. So, if you were to look at all of this, you would see that they are united with the UN, which birthed from the Lucifer Trust. For many, this is nothing new. They have meditation room with the black box, which represents Saturn, which represents Satan. They are agreeing with the ecumenism. The United Nations is linked to many organizations, but most, of course, at the top is WHO. And Shiva is behind them at every Q&A, and that's the god of destruction. So let's look at the World Council of Churches. So act now. Awaken, confront, transform. What do you see in there? You see the Papacy statement. You see praying together, solidarity, ecumenical, and together. So I added all those pictures in there just so you could see, because there's just too much to show you. all of them were praying together. What do you see in this picture that stands out to you? Those are the three things that stood out to me. There's more, but let's just keep going. The act to end racism that was in the video. And also you would see this, them all praying together, wearing the masks as well. So they're in agreement. They follow the WHO. Finland is Arto Hämäläinen, that's him there, but for the Canadians and Americans, there's more coming. But just to understand that the Pentecostal World Fellowship is in unity with the Pope. They have a unity with all religions. And a statement where Pope was in Dubai. Do you remember this? I've made videos, so has everyone else. There are your three churches and your no-hide laws basically coming into fruition. And Empowered is joint with this. There's the Kalanda, there's Cindy Jacobs, there's just so many others. I don't even have time to go over this. But the PCCNA, leaderships there, of course, is Doug Clay. So he is the Assemblies of God, right? You have Samuel Rodriguez and many others. And it's about unity again. So they have a conference coming up March 18th to the 20th. 3 days, they say. 3. Have to bring that up. Unlimited. So who are their head spokespeople? Dr. George O.W. and Reverend Dominic Yao. I probably mispronounced that, but at the top, your eyes will see this and you will say, the Lord be magnified beyond the border of Israel. So are they still Zionists, is my question. Well, I see the A and the G, but let's just watch a short clip, okay?
Right here. With the coronavirus ravaging in the different countries of the world, the Assemblies of God believers have a role to play as we come together.
Prayers.
The Assemblies of God believers have a role to play as we come together.
Prayer is so vital, and I'm asking all of our Assemblies of God churches, 377,000 churches and 70 million believers all over the world to join in prayer.
Come and join me from March 18th to the 20th in this global concert of prayer.
If you're a believer,
follow us on the social media right now, and as you do so, get yourself ready, and I'll see you there. God bless you.
Even that last ting in there really bothered me. I don't know about you guys, but so what did I notice? Well, I didn't show you the clip, and I don't think it was in that, but they are pro-V basically. But watch the entire clip. In that clip, they also had this number show up. Well, 73, 88, 33, those were the last numbers there. But of course you think I'm stretching, so let's just stick to the facts. Unlimited, trust is critical, arise. Assemblies of God have a role to play. What role? Is it theater? And 377,000 churches with 70 million believers. Global concert of prayer. Is it a concert? Is it a prayer service? What is it? To me, it just looked like another typical Hillsong little get-together. But okay, maybe I'm just being harsh. But please watch the video and see what you see. Go ahead. But in the logo itself, I see the Ouroboros. I see the sun coming out. It's unlimited. It's the N. Look at the N. And I was really thinking, okay, as above, so below in a sense. And also just watching Enter the Stars really got me to thinking of this. Yes, it's twisted, it's turned, but it's the same thing. And it's from The Wizard of Oz. And okay, I'll show one short clip. So there's many different things that I don't have in that short clip for you to understand. It turns into a Q, which also represents, this is all representing what's going on right now, the C word, and it also represents the crown. We understand that. But it also has to do with Q, which means the queen. The queen. And now I want you to listen to what I heard them talking about in a discussion on church relaunch from Assemblies of God USA on Vimeo. And to hear what she had to say, now she's a head of Rockside Church. Her name is Donna Barrett. And just listen.
How much would you say to a church, going back doesn't mean going back to doing exactly what you did?
If I were pastoring today, Rick, I would be looking for a new normal. I would first of all be listening really hard. I would be talking 20% and listening 80% to board, to pastor, surveying. For example, if you were to survey a congregation right now, maybe only 50% of them would say, if you started next Sunday, I would feel safe enough to come back. And we need to hear some of those things from people. If I were pastoring today, I would, I heard an illustration recently that really made this clear to me. They said the Sunday morning service is like the queen on a chessboard. And if you want to learn how to play chess well, take the queen off the board and see what the other elements can do without the queen being there. And then when you put the queen back, you're a really good chess player. The Sunday morning service has become our queen. And it's been removed, not by anything we voluntarily did. We've been forced to remove it. So look and see, what else do we have to work with? Discipleship, small groups, a home-to-home ministry.
So thank you again to Enter the Stars for talking about that. Whether you put those two together or not, that's what I'm seeing. And to see how much she just used the okay every time she said something, my goodness, you need to watch that and rewatch that. But many things that I heard in here. Just trust your pastors. I'm not going to keep showing you clips. This would take forever. We are rebuilding the church. We will be through this stuff. We will have a V. Fear will be gone. Yeah, after you take the V, really. The gospel will win its place in the hearts of people as they watch the church. Huh. Interesting. So they're just watching. That's all it is. Look, and then the great harvest. There's no great harvest. Nowhere in the Bible does it talk about a great harvest. There is a falling away. But the one that really stood and really hit me home was pre-registration.
Good. So with that said, a number of the churches I'm hearing are doing pre-registration. Okay. So that you go online and you register so they know you're going to be there. And
you understand, right? They know you're coming. So then they can give that list to the government or whoever. And then they start talking about the Spanish flu, and he starts showing the okay sign as well. The gospel had won its place in the hearts of people. I'd like to hear your thoughts on this. Maybe I should play that one clip.
Impacting moment when I was studying in the Assemblies of God, and everybody's made reference to the 1918 Spanish flu and all of that. Well, the national office was shut down. There were some revivals that were shut down. There were things, but there were a couple articles that were written following, like in 1919. And one of the lines that struck me is that post the Spanish flu, the gospel had won its place in the hearts of people. Mm-hmm. And that phrase just resonated. I pray as we come out of this that the gospel will win its place in the hearts of people, those visitors, that 10% that come and said, we're open. Those who've been scared and out of fear, they're now turning towards faith and turning towards the church because they don't want to go through this pandemic without some sort of, do we have divine intervention, divine protection? So my prayer is that whatever your expression of ministry would be, that the gospel will win its place in the hearts of people.
I really hope that he means that Jesus has found his place in the hearts of people. I'm sure that's what he's meaning, but I just want your opinion. But please go listen to that and the entire thing, as well as the last question and things that they were comparing, and the Jewish people going into the wilderness, and the style of worship went with them. They left the ways of Egypt behind. Is it possible that this is a spiritual dynamic shift, that we're about to move into a new move of God? I don't know. So many things. I mean, and then they even mention a great awakening with a new method. What kind of method are you thinking of? He says taking away the church, or a great awakening. Look, I have my concerns, but please go listen to that entire thing and just look at their hand signals. Listen to every word they have to say, because I am very concerned right now. I see many things, as well as the hand signals in this clip and another clip. And so I don't have time to go over that. This would take probably an hour long. But just realize that even in their statement, recommended speakers has 33 members. Wow, they couldn't find like 2 more or a few more or a few less. They had to find 33. Just unbelievable. And by the way, they muted my song on my last video in case you were wondering and in case you've watched recently. Look, all I'm saying is remember to follow Jesus and not pastors, because right now they have all joined with the papacy. For the time will come when men will not put up with sound doctrine. Instead, to suit their own desires, they will gather around them and a great number of teachers to say what their itching ears want to hear. I'm not saying that all these pastors are doing that, but I'm just saying that do not be one with the world, church, pastors, or even with science right now. Research everything and know who they are linked with and all the avenues of their alliances. My guess is that when you know who they're linked with, or who they are linked with after you look at who they're linked with, you're going to walk away from the churches. Be one with God, one with Jesus. Accept Jesus in your heart and follow him. Being in a church right now, I do not suggest. Rather, turn to the one that loves you and can heal you. But this is my thoughts and what I found. I hope you really listen carefully and do your own research to understand. In my opinion, all churches have been infiltrated, especially the 501c3. God bless. Take care. I'm going to be on less though today, or this week, I'm sorry, because my daughter is on a ski break for the whole week. So I might get 1 or 2 out there this week, but I'm going to do my best. God bless. Have a great day and a great week. Till next time.